Hey, Agnes. Long time no speak. Where are you right now?
Casey! Yes, it's been a long time indeed. What can I do for you, my dear? I'm out running some errands at the moment. Why?
Me and Gary just arrived at your house.
Huh? My house?
Yes, your house. We did tell you we were coming before.
Oh, silly me, it must have slipped my mind. Well, what can I do for you, my dear?
We came to check on Albert. We were worried when we heard you'd be taking full responsibility for him and looking after him at home. I see.
Well, what do you want me for? Is there something I can do for you, dear? My husband's at home, is he not?
Agnes? I don't want to be rude or anything, but I think what's going on here is horrible.
Horrible? What the devil are you talking about?
The situation with Albert. You're not caring for him at all, are you? He told us he hasn't taken a bath for a month. He has to crawl to the toilet on his hands and knees. The porta potty in his room was overflowing. I've never seen anything so disgusting in my life.
Oh, well, if you're so upset, why don't you do it yourself?
We already did.
Oh, you did? That's excellent, dear. I'm so pleased for you. In that case, is there really any need to bother me with your withering? I'm a busy woman, you know. My time is valuable. And if you'd stop wasting it, I'd be incredibly grateful. You must be mad if you think I have the time to devote myself single-mindedly to looking after my husband.
I get that you're busy with but this is going too far. Albert's been the most loyal husband a woman could ever hope for. He'd go to the end of the earth and back for you, and you know it. The least you could do is look after him properly as his health fails him.
Well, excuse me, Casey, but you seem to be under the false impression that you have the right to preach to your mother-in-law about what she should and shouldn't be doing. How dare you talk back to me? Back in my day, you'd have gotten the belt for this. If you're so upset by the situation with my husband, then I suggest you stop complaining and look after him yourself.
Wow, seriously? Does that mean you intend to continue leaving him to fester in his own waste? No one owes Albert a bigger debt of gratitude than you do. How can you even bear to see him like this? He's your husband of 50 years, for crying out loud.
I'm caring for him in my own way, thank you very much. Everyone's standards are different, so stop your self-righteous pontificating and either do something about it or remove yourselves from my house.
You're caring for him? Which part of this counts as care? You have some whacked-out definitions if you actually believe that.
I'm doing the bare minimum, aren't I?
For your husband of 50 years? He deserves more than this. Even if he was a stranger, he's still a human being. Do your job properly.
The doctors told me he only has 6 months left to live at best. What's the harm in making his care as brisk and efficient as possible if he'll be kicking the bucket soon anyway? Besides, he's the one who was so desperate to come home because he said he'd felt more at ease there. But that doesn't mean I ever agreed to look after him. He should be grateful that he's even getting the bare minimum out of me with nerve like that.
Oh my god.
He'll continue to get the bare minimum, and if he or any of you meddling busybodies don't like it, you can lump it.
Something tells me you're not even doing the bare minimum.
Like I told you, if you're that bothered, do it yourself.
But we live a 5-hour return trip away from you. If Albert's gonna live out his final months at home like he wanted, then I really think you should hire a professional carer.
A professional carer? You must think I'm made of money. I tell you what, since I'm so kind, I'll let you move in if you're so desperate to look after my husband. Let's see if you're willing to put your money where your mouth is.
Fine, I will. I'll do it. I'll look after him.
Really, I must say I am impressed. You're even stranger than I thought. I know what your game is. You think if you can suck up to him while he's still around, he'll write you into his will and you'll hit the jackpot when he dies, don't you?
No, that is most definitely not what my game is.
I'm pleased to hear that, dear. All right, well, I'm counting on you to look after my Albert. You should know this means I won't be lifting a finger for him from now on, so you'd better take it seriously. Needless to say, you won't be getting a cent out of me either.
Agnes, what time will you be getting home today?
I'm at a concert with my friends, so I won't be back anytime soon. I won't be needing any supper tonight.
I see. Look, I told you this yesterday, but you didn't reply. But Albert's health has taken a major turn for the worse over the last few days. I'm not sure he has long left.
Oh, yes, I remember you telling me. Is he finally going to kick the bucket soon?
Ugh, don't talk about your husband like that.
He's the selfish oaf who decided he had to spend his final moments at home instead of surrounded by the professionals at the care facility. I'll be relieved to finally have him out of my hair, but I do wish he'd hurry up. A stubborn blockhead right until the end.
What? The only reason he didn't end up living at the facility in the first place is because you were opposed to the idea. I was speechless when he told me. Apparently you said you didn't want him going into the home because you said you'd rather not waste your money.
I did? Oh, maybe I did, I don't really remember. Oh well. Even if I did, what's the problem? He has you looking after him now. What use is there in dragging up the past after all this time? If you're so obsessed with him, surely you should be using this time spent wittering at me more productively by changing his diapers or something.
Agnes, please. He doesn't have long left. Won't you at least be there for him at the end?
How many times do I have to tell you I have no interest in looking after my husband? I feel like I'm talking to a brick wall. You really are a dimwit.
You don't have to help with looking after him, but can't you at least bring yourself to be there for his final days?
I shall do no such thing! My lovely house now reeks of decrepit, dying old man. I'll have to move at this rate. Oh, yes, that reminds me. I'll be going on holiday the day after tomorrow.
You'd go on holiday at a time like this?
Yes, why wouldn't I? I thought this would be the perfect time for a luxury cruise. I'll be gone for a week.
What the hell, Agnes? Are you joking? The doctor said we should prepare ourselves for the worst soon. Surely understand he doesn't have long left.
So what if he doesn't?
Isn't there any part of you that wants to be by your husband of 50 years aside when he passes away? The only reason you're able to go off gallivanting and living at large right now is because of Albert's hard-earned money. Don't you feel even the tiniest bit of gratitude?
I would have been grateful if he just hurried up and kicked the bucket sooner. But no, he just had to drag it out and cause me a world of inconvenience. I would have never had to look after him if he'd accepted his fate and gotten out of my hair earlier.
Wow. Listen, Agnes. Albert said there's something he wants to tell you while he's still conscious. Can you at least make some time for that?
I most certainly cannot. Talking to him would mean having to brave that stinking bedroom of his. I can't think of anything I'd rather do less than enter that putrid misery pit.
He says it's very important.
I'm not interested in hearing anything he has to say. Besides, nothing he could possibly tell me could be as important as my cruise. Just tell him to forget about me. As far as I'm concerned, he's already gone. And believe me, I'm enjoying my new single life to the fullest.
But your husband's still alive.
He's bedridden and barely even capable of holding simple conversation. Can you really call that being alive? Ah, they just started letting everyone into the concert hall. Gotta go. Toodles!
I'm not done speaking to you yet. What time will you be coming home tonight?
Are you stupid as well as ugly? I told you I'll be home late. You're such a pain in my ass, you cocky little upstart. Do me a favor and die along with my husband. I'm turning my phone off so you can't harass me anymore, so you may as well not bother messaging me again today.
Agnes, Albert just passed away.
He did? Hooray! Finally! Took his sweet time!
I tried calling you countless times, but you didn't answer.
Well, duh, I'm on holiday. Why should my fun have to be spoiled just because my husband happens to be on the verge of death? I know, you were only calling me to witter and complain about him.
Oh my god, so you knew and still ignored me? You're despicable.
You're an impertinent little brat. What makes you think you have the right to speak to your mother-in-law like that?
Because your attitude towards your dying husband is abhorrent. You make me sick. You did deserve a man as kind and caring as him.
I'm sorry you feel that way, darling. Unfortunately for you, he was head over heels with me and did whatever I told him. That's what made him happy. What was it like at the end?
He died peacefully surrounded by his whole family. Apart from you, of course.
Huh. So he had everyone there fawning over him, did he? He always did like attention. What a luxurious way to go. Ah, yes, will there be a funeral?
Obviously.
That's a shame. I won't be able to arrange it myself, what with being on a luxury cruise ship and all. But make sure you go with the cheapest plan. There's no sense in wasting money on a corpse.
Agnes, you're the most despicable, most heartless person I've ever met. Does your cruelty know no end? I hope you know there's no way any of his family are gonna agree to that. It's not like we were planning on breaking the bank, but we do at least intend to give him the respect he deserves by giving him a nice send-off.
A nice send-off? Ugh, gross, I could vomit. Oh, I know what this is. You feel brave enough to stand up to me now because you have his family behind you, don't you? Pathetic.
No, it's not like that at all.
I know. You think you'll get some of his will. Is that it? Just because you cared for my husband in his final days doesn't mean you have any right to his inheritance. You have no right to anything as his daughter-in-law. I'm his wife, and it's all mine. All of it. Tell my dullard of a son he isn't getting any either. I need it all to live on.
What are you talking about? He divorced you. You're not in the will.
Excuse me? What did you just say? He divorced me. Have you lost your mind?
No, he really did divorce you.
Are you confused? Drunk? On drugs? Stupid? Do you think me being a widow now makes us divorced or something? I mean, with me being on my own now, we are divorced in a sense, but certainly not in the way you seem to think.
I don't mean it like that. I mean he literally divorced you.
Casey, would you do me a favor and stop talking nonsense? Dear, oh dear, if there's one guarantee when talking to you, it's that I'll be annoyed by the end of the conversation.
The wake will be held tomorrow. Can't you make it home?
Obviously not. I am on a luxury cruise.
Right. I thought so. Fine. Don't say I didn't warn you. Don't act surprised or come crying to me when you find out. Oh yeah, there was one more thing. Both your relatives and Albert's family said they refuse to have anything more to do with you if you won't come to the funeral. They said you'll be as good as dead to them, and that includes Gary.
Tell them to do as they please. I can live my life in comfort as long as I have the inheritance money. Why would I want to associate with such a bunch of stuck-up, self-righteous busybodies anyway? I'll actually consider myself lucky if I can get rid of my burden of a husband and dimwit of a son in one fell swoop. Casey, are you there? Albert's lawyer just told me I wasn't written into the will. Then he said he couldn't tell me anything else because I am not family? What the devil is going on? There must be some kind of mistake. Explain this at once. What did you do?
Are you back from your holiday?
What does that have to do with anything?
What's going on? I told you pretty clearly a few days ago that Albert divorced you.
What? But that doesn't make any sense. I never handed in any divorce papers.
No, but I did on your husband's behalf. You can elect a representative if you're not capable of handling them and yourself.
But I didn't sign anything. Did you forge my signature? That's illegal. I'll have the divorce invalidated and get my hands on that money before you know it. Mark my words.
Nope, you most definitely did sign the papers.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did. It was 10 years ago, remember?
Huh?
Remember when he said he was divorcing you when he found out you were cheating on him 10 years ago? He told us about how you broke down in tears and promised to change your ways, begging him to give you another chance, which he agreed to do because he believed you. He made it clear you wouldn't be getting any more chances and that the next time really would be a divorce, didn't he?
He still remembered what happened 10 years ago?
How could he forget you cheating on him? His condition for giving you one last chance was that you sign a set of divorce papers so he could divorce you immediately the moment you gave him reason to. If it ever came to it. He showed me the pledge you wrote him too. You said you agreed to him handing in the already signed divorce papers in the event that he has decided that was what he wanted.
No way. I thought that was all just to scare me. I never thought he'd actually do it.
You brought this on yourself. He wanted to speak to you before he passed away. I did tell you that, but you wouldn't listen.
I didn't know it was about divorce.
Not my problem. The bottom line here is that you're not in the will, and you're not getting any of the inheritance. All you're entitled to is half of the money from the house.
Is that it? But that barely amounts to $20,000.
You should be grateful you're even getting that. You're the one who spent every last cent of his savings without his permission, I might add. There'd be grounds for a legal challenge there if any of us had the energy to go through the drama. The fact that you think you actually deserve anything beyond that just shows that your arrogance truly knows no bounds.
Am I really not getting a single cent?
Nope, why would you? You're a stranger.
Wait, no, what am I supposed to do now?
Well, first of all, you need to get the hell out of that house. You might have both paid for it, but it was in Albert's name. And he decided to give it to your son. He's putting up for sale, and you're sure as hell not welcome in it anymore. You'll have a month to get your things together and leave. You'll get your share when we sell it.
You mean I have to leave my own home?
Correction, you have to leave Gary's home.
But I can't, I have nowhere else to go. How am I supposed to find somewhere else to live in a month? I won't even be able to afford to pay rent without my share of the money from the house. Even then, how am I supposed to live out my retirement on a poxy $20,000?
I'm repeating myself here, but once again, that's not my problem. Your future has nothing to do with me or Gary, and you need to figure it out on your own.
Enough of this nonsense. There is no point in speaking to you. I'm calling my son.
You may as well not waste your time. He already blocked you.
He did what?
I told you very clearly, didn't I? That he'd sever all ties with you if you didn't show up at his dad's funeral.
Even still, does he really have to be so hasty?
I think you understand how serious he is now. We'll be doing everything else through the lawyer. So he has no reason to speak to you anymore.
You'll still speak with me, won't you, Casey?
Nope. I spent more time with Albert before he passed away than anyone. And he told me there was something he wanted me to know.
There was? What was it? Was it about me by any chance?
Don't make me laugh. He couldn't have cared less about you after the way you treated him. He just wanted me to know how grateful he was for me being there to care for him during his final days. Gary was always there on weekends too. He told us he couldn't have been happier to have such an amazing family.
He had the nerve to live out his last days in peace and happiness after divorcing me and writing me out of his will? Ugh, I hope he rots in hell for this.
If hell's real, I know someone who's definitely going there, but it's not your husband. To think he worked so hard to provide for you, to be there for you and to make you happy, and even went as far as forgiving you when you cheated on him, and you repay him by leaving him to fester in his own waste during his final days when he needed you more than ever. You're the most disgraceful human being I've ever had the misfortune of knowing.
The only disgrace here is my husband. He left me to drown and gave the lifeboat to my son who blocked me.
I know, right? What a shame. It couldn't have happened to a bigger scumbag. Cutting you out of our lives was the easiest decision me and Gary ever made. I hope you live out the rest of your life in despairing loneliness and isolation. For dying alone, depressed in some cold, dark place where you can't bother the rest of humanity.
Casey, there was over $200,000 in my husband's will, right? Do you think you might be able to help me out, even if it's just a little? I'd really appreciate any support you can give me.
You must be joking. Do you seriously think we'd give you a single cent?
I'm begging you. I'm being 100% serious when I say I won't be able to get by as things stand. How am I supposed to live with no money and no family?
Not my problem.
I apologize for making you look after him. But it's over for me if I don't find some place to live or get my hands on some money, and soon. I mean it, I'll be lying dead in the street before long if you go through with this. I'm begging you, please. Please talk to my son and tell him how sorry I am. I really am, I mean it. Please convince him to give me some money. It doesn't have to be much, anything will do.
You still don't get it, do you? You can die in the street for all we care.
Casey, I may only be your mother-in-law, but that still makes me your mother. How could you say such a horrible thing?
No, you're not. Albert divorced you, remember? You're not my mother-in-law, and you're certainly not my mother. You're nothing. Gary feels exactly the same, so you needn't bother going crying to him either. We're only your family when it suits you. You exasperate me.
Casey, I'm begging you. What do I have to say to change your mind, please? Help me. I can't make it on my own.
Surely it's not because you're on your own that you're screwed, but because you're broke. A reality you brought entirely on yourself. We don't want anything more to do with you for as long as we live. Stay away. Do I make myself clear? I have nothing more to say to you. I can't tell you what a relief it is to finally get you out of our lives, you wretched old hag. After that, we hired some cleaners and a removal company to take care of the house and everything in it, and had our lawyer take care of scaring a desperate Agnes, who was refusing to vacate the premises until leaving. The deed to the house was now in Gary's name, so he technically had no obligation to give her anything, and decided to have it demolished instead of selling. She soon disappeared when she heard the bulldozers would be arriving soon. She's currently living in some shabby rundown apartment near the red light district, while rapidly eating into what remains of the small amount of money she had left. Apparently, she was spotted wandering around the neighborhood where her old house stood before it was demolished, and even knocked on some of the neighbors' door begging for money before being questioned by a cop out on patrol and told to leave. We'd already moved into a new apartment by then, so naturally, she didn't have a clue where we were and had no way of finding us. She must have bought a new phone to bother us with, because me and Gary were bombarded with messages from a phone number we didn't recognize begging for help a few weeks later. Naturally, we blocked her immediately and carried on with our lives. Astonishingly, she managed to message us over 50 times in the space of 10 minutes. But as soon as we realized what was going on, we blocked the number and emptied our inboxes. Not our problem. Something tells me Agnes will never be as happy as her husband was during his final days. And as sad as it is that he's not here with us anymore, there's something very comforting about that. A lonely, miserable end is all that awaits her. As for me and Gary, we took all of his dad's prized possessions and family heirlooms with us before the house got demolished. And now I have a little table in the corner of the living room full of just pictures and ornaments, kind of like a shrine to honor his memory. Albert was kind, caring, thoughtful, and had the biggest heart of anyone I ever met. I loved him, and I was lucky to have him in my life. We could never see him as regularly as we would have liked, what with us living so far away. But we feel blessed to have been able to be there for him during his final days. My late father-in-law never said much to me about his wife, but he made clear that he was fully committed to divorcing her if it was the last thing he did. They'd been married for 50 years, and he knew her better than anyone. I shudder to think that she must have been like behind closed doors. I don't know whether heaven is real, but if it is, I like to think he's up there, looking down on me and Gary with a smile on his face. I hope he can forget his evil ex-wife and live up there in happiness. Who knows? Maybe we'll be reunited one day.